Right, welcome guys. Apparently James Cameron has more than a plan. Direct quote for the future of the Terminator films, with one major difference. Thought this would be interesting. Let's take a look, shall we? This was in an Empire piece to celebrate 40 years of Terminator. You can actually see the sort of, where is it? Here you go, Empire magazine. I really like this actually. I think this is epic. This is a really, really, really cool magazine cover. Like that's super cool. All sort of neon lit, celebrating the 80s as well as, of course, you know, the Terminator himself, the T-800. And here it is. The Terminator. What an epic film. What a bloody epic film. But anyway, here's the sort of excerpt anyway. So, yeah, just thought we'd take a look. Hit subscribe if you're new here and do turn those bell notifications on. So it says this, right? And this is just a piece with Empire, and there is some pretty interesting stuff from James. But it says, ever since the Terminator hit the big screen 40 years ago, Hollywood has taken the time twisting cyborg saga and run with it. First, James Cameron sequelized his own original with the exemplary Terminator 2 Judgment Day. Then things got more tangled. Terminator 3, Rise of the Machines. Yeah, not a good film. Like, at all. Continued the story without Cameron's involvement. And then Terminator Salvation is actually a bit of guilty pleasure of mine. Don't hate it. Genuinely don't hate Terminator Salvation. It's got some good elements. Was something of a reboot, delving into the war against the machines. Then Terminator Genesis attempted to remix the iconography. I hated Terminator Genesis. Thought it was rubbish. And then it all landed to underwhelming responses. Most recently, Terminator Dark Fate served as a direct sequel to Judgment Day and was utterly atrocious. Terminator Dark Fate was absolutely awful. It was really, really, really bad. And that stalled at the box office. But while the big screen sequels have struggled to live up to the heights of the Terminator and Terminator 2, James Cameron is confident that there's a future for the franchise and knows what needs to be done to bring it roaring back to life. Now, he has actually said some stuff to do with Terminator Zero, the anime that released. And I do think Terminator Zero has gone away to gone some way to breathe some life back into the franchise. You know, sort of a form of a resuscitation, because Terminator Dark Fate was, you know, like the car that hit it, or semi-truck that hit, you know, killed it. And then it decided to reverse back over, kill it again. Then the guy got out of the semi-truck and decided to piss all over the corpse of Terminator. And then got back in and then drove back over it again. That's what Terminator Dark Fate did to the franchise. So, you know, Terminator Zero being well received, yeah, did resuscitate it a little bit. But anyway, here's some statements. This is the moment when you jettison everything that is specific to the last 40 years of Terminator, but you live by those principles. Now that sounds like he's going completely reboot. Complete reboot. Everything you know about it, gone. But you stand by the same principles that made the first one enjoyable. So he tells Empire in a major new interview celebrating 4 decades of the Terminator. That means moving away from the iconic original cast. That was always should have been what happened. There's 2 ways to approach this, really, isn't there? Like, I always thought that the third Terminator movie should have been what led up to the Terminator being sent back. Right? Because we are told in the first movie that we won the war. We won the future war. And in a last-ditch effort, they sent the Terminator back to kill John Connor, so he doesn't win the war. But if the end result is we always win the war, or what should be that we win the war, you know, we make it and we get Skynet, then why not show that? And then have this really beautiful trilogy where it's cyclical. You know, you get 1 and 2, and then we get the future war in 3, and then it rounds it out. Literally, the end of that film should be the beginning of Terminator. So you know that we win, and we know that it's a cyclical moment in time, but it progresses past that. So maybe not even necessarily the end of the film should be that. Maybe it should be the beginning of the third act should be that. And then we see what happens after the Terminator gets sent back. You know, Skynet realizing that they will never succeed and John Connor will always win the future war. That'd be epic. Or, yeah, move away from the cast if you're never going to actually cap off the franchise. But never mind. He says, and telling new and different stories in the world of AI apocalypse. You get too inside it, and then you lose a new audience because the new audience care much less about that stuff. You want to appeal to new audiences? My excitement has just dwindled. Basically, James Cameron wants to appeal to the modern audience. Yeah, because basically says the new audience care much less about that stuff than you think they do, which is true. Like he's not wrong. FYI, like he's not wrong at all. Like new audience doesn't care about Sarah Connor. New audience doesn't care about Arnold Schwarzenegger. Most of the new audience that's coming up don't know that Arnold Schwarzenegger was one of the greatest bodybuilders of all time, right? Like this is just not common knowledge these days. I know it sounds weird to say for us, sort of cinephiles, but it is the truth. And he says that's the danger, obviously, with Avatar as well. But I think we've proven that we have something for new audiences. Without Arnie, without Linda Hamilton, without the T-800 and the T-1000 and Sarah Connor, it might be hard to imagine what's left, but Cameron is clear on the elements that make Terminator tick. You've got powerless main characters, essentially, fighting for their lives, who get no support from existing power structures and have to circumvent them, but somehow maintain moral compass. And then you throw AI into the mix. Those principles are sound principles for storytelling today, right? So I have no doubt that subsequent Terminator films will not only be possible, but they'll kick ass. But this is the moment where you jettison all the specific iconography. And it's not just that future Terminator films are possible. It seems Cameron, whilst hard at work on Avatar, Fire and Ash, and its sequels, is masterminding something new in the machine-ridden future. It's more than a plan, he reveals. That's what we're doing. That's all I'll say for right now. It's like the Terminator always said, I'll be back. Look, I'm going to say don't appeal to the modern audience. There isn't really a modern audience. I definitely don't think there's a modern audience for Terminator at all. And I think, like, even though AI is prevalent in today's society and it's something which is we used, like with ChatGPT, so like AI is just used, like that is just a thing now. I also think that you necessarily or there's a high potential chance, which because of the usage of AI, if you focus too much on a modernized version of Terminator with modernized versions of AI, you actually you lose the horror aspect because we've become desensitized to AI. You almost have to go really bombastic with it to, hit people where they're least expecting it. If you're just doing like Skynet AI again now with a similar, or you're bringing it back to modern times, I think you'll really run that risk of it being shit, for lack of a better word, because people won't find it horrifying. The thing about Skynet is you never saw it. You never saw Skynet, but you would see its arms being the Terminators. So you have to have them, but they're like, what was the wording again? The iconography? Did he say keep the iconography? No, he said jettison all the specific iconography. So if you jettison all of it, including the actual robotic Terminators, I think you've got an issue there. But whatever, it's just an interesting thing. But don't go for the main audience, the new modern audience. No good, no good. But what do you guys think? Let me know down below. Cheers, take care, bye-bye now.